Hello everyone, my name is João and I'm from University of Porto in Portugal, and today I'll be talking about renewable energy communities and accessing their value and contribution to a decarbonized world. Renewable energy communities are groups of people or organizations that come together to produce, consume and share renewable energy locally. But first, let's start with a little bit of history. You now might be asking, why am I showing this funny looking wind turbine? It's actually very symbolic and has a very important context. It was built in 1975 in a small village of Denmark, Julfborg, and at the time there was an oil crisis in the Middle East and the government was strategizing about how to deal with it. While the government was about to go full on nuclear energy, the citizens started rebelling, not only with their words but also with their actions, and they actually built the wind turbine. Nowadays, we are facing a similar crisis in the energy sector, so we should learn from the past and look to what other people have done to deal with previous crises. So decentralized energy production is a reasonable approach. And nowadays, we have more efficient and simpler ways to produce energy, like the photovoltaic systems, and we have a legislative context that is favorable to this transition. The European legislation has openly supported the transition to renewable energy. For that, the European Union has launched some laws. The first one was the Renewable Energy Directive. After that, the European Green Deal comes out in 2020 with the aim to transform Europe in the first continent to reach carbon neutrality by 2050. And the REPowerEU plan comes out after Russia's invasion of Ukraine and has the aim to end the dependence on Russian fossil fuels and avoid the climate crisis. So the big point here is European legislation is making it possible to switch to a greener tomorrow. And because of that, we are facing a boom of renewable energy communities. Europe is a fertile territory for the dissemination of this type of projects. The renewable energy communities are everywhere, although the distribution is still a little bit uneven. So countries like Denmark, Germany, or the Netherlands, they have plenty of projects of this type of communities, while countries more in Central or Eastern Europe have just residual examples. In Portugal, my country, we are just starting this process, but we are growing fast. Renewable energy communities are the solution to reduce the energy costs because we are betting on a way to produce energy that is traditional, that has less costs than the traditional fossil fuel ones. They can also address energy poverty because we are providing reliable energy to the marginalized part of the society. And they can improve the energy security because we are betting on a way to produce energy in which the consumption is near the production. So we are reducing the transportation losses, the grid disruptions, and outages. For these reasons, renewable energy communities can mitigate the effects of climate change by reducing the greenhouse gas emissions and transform the world in a greener world. One good example of a renewable energy community is Alta de Lisboa Energy Community. That is the case study proposed for my dissertation. It's a condominium in which its residents intended to reduce their energy bill by betting on a photovoltaic system. They started with a small installation and they currently have 54 panels installed and 17 kilowatts of installed power. They provided me some data, namely the consumption and production data, and it's intended to study the impact that this implementation had not only on reducing their energy bills, but also in terms of environmental aspects. And do you remember that village from the beginning of my presentation? You can also implement a project like this on your village or on your town. So start talking to your neighbors and look for information on your local energy agencies or municipalities because they can play a big role here. So citizens like me or you have the power to start the energy transition on our region. Thank you so much for your attention. Hope you enjoyed. If you have some questions, please reach me out.